Nicki Minaj is on day 3 or 4 of her coke binge, and the woman hasn't gotten any sleep, so she keeps recording herself going live, and I've gotten sick of it at this point. It's boring, it's a little bit predictable, and it's honestly very hard to watch because I think she genuinely is like spiraling and has a very big drug problem and needs to go to rehab because her tour is literally going to get canceled. But I saw a clip today of her basically saying that Megan Thee Stallion's career, this is the new argument, Megan Thee Stallion's career rides off of sympathy, and she is only successful because people feel bad for her, and that she should be more of a G, more of a real bitch, more of a, real artist, and be similar to Rihanna and get your ass beat and just suck it up. And this kind of proves my point that I made the other day, because a lot of people have been asking me my opinion on them. And I talked about it on live, and one of the many, many points that I made, because I do think it's a very layered, complex issue that's happening here, is that I think Nicki Minaj is deeply jealous and resentful that Megan Thee Stallion got justice for her abuse and Nicki did not. That's not Megan's fault, 1, and 2, I'm hesitant to ever say or accuse another woman of being jealous of the woman that they're feuding with. 1, because I think it's misogynistic, and 2, I usually do think that there is something a little bit deeper beyond that jealousy, and in this case that applies as well. But it's hard to come up with literally anything else other than that Nicki is literally seething with jealousy. And I don't think it's jealousy about her being hot or sexy or numbers. I don't think that's what it is. I think that, this is what I said the other day, I cannot imagine what Nicki Minaj had to go through to get to the level of fame and success that she's at, the amount of harassment she probably dealt with, probably getting assaulted and harassed millions of times by men. And when you rise to that level, I can assume that there is a level of, I need to suck this up. I'm just not going to tell anybody about this. I'm going to keep it pushing because I'm not about to let this thing, even though I have every right to be offended, hurt, or get my justice for it, get in the way of my success. One of the main things that bothered me about Nicki Minaj even mentioning Megan Thee Stallion getting shot in the foot is that if I say, or if I write a little diss track, the main reason that it even bothers me that Nicki Minaj thought it was at all funny to bring up Megan Thee Stallion getting shot in the foot has to do with the fact that if I made a little diss track, let's just say I wanted to make a little funny track about Nicki Minaj, and I'm laughing on the beat about how she was getting her head smacked between the washer and the dryer by Meek Mill, I don't think many people would laugh at that. And I don't think it would, sting as much. I don't think it would be as funny. I don't think I could cackle about her getting her ass beat by her ex-boyfriend because it's not funny. And the thing that bothers me about Nicki Minaj that I had no clue about, if you were to tell me in 2013 that Nicki Minaj was going to be slut-shaming another female rapper for having sex and for getting shot by a man, I wouldn't have believed you. I would think that this is the one woman who would be standing with her. Very wrong, clearly. But with all that being said, I think that it's hard for her to watch Megan Thee Stallion go through what is similar abuse from a male rapper, a well-known, well-liked male rapper like Meek Mill, quietly, smoothly, and gracefully get legal justice, wipe her hands, and still have fans and still be making music. Because that is not what happened to Nicki. And at least from my memory, I will say, I don't remember people like attacking and like bringing her down, and I don't have this memory in my head that there was a point in Nicki Minaj's career where people were saying she was a liar or like a fake victim. You can correct me if I'm wrong, because I genuinely just do not remember. I'm sure that there was tabloids of people like not believing her, because Meek Mill's still walking around and he's fine, because that's what happens when you get abused as a woman. The man's gonna be fine either way. Yeah, people might talk about him for a little bit, he's gonna be fine. You're gonna have to keep, walking on at some point. Rihanna did have like press around what happened with Chris Brown. She had that Oprah interview. I can remember how horrific it was. I was probably in 5th or 6th grade when it happened, and Rihanna's mugshot was, or not mugshot, I'm sorry. It's in my head, it looks like a mugshot, that's why I said that. But the photo of her abuse, like where she's swollen and bruised, was a punchline for years. Like, I remember literally still having AIM Messenger and people, the amount of Rihanna jokes were insane. It would never, ever, ever, ever pass now. And that's because culture evolves, and over time, things that were once okay become not okay. And it's very bizarre to me that Nicki is like stuck in this time where you can make fun of women for getting hurt or abused, and we have to take it seriously when it's her, but we can't take it seriously when it's like someone that is charting or someone that's also in her industry. And that's the thing with Nicki Minaj that I'm realizing, is that when somebody else is doing better than her or getting a Grammy or doing better numbers, it's this, you know, whole plan, it's this whole thing against Nicki Minaj. But when she wins and does get something and does chart, it was hard work paying off because she's real, everyone else is fake and against her. So that's the big punchline to me in this whole thing, is she said that Megan wanted a Rihanna moment, that she wanted to be a victim of abuse because she wanted a moment of sympathy to help her career. I can't think of one woman where they've stood up and said, yeah, I was abused, and they got more successful. There's always a few years of having to take it on the chin, of the whole world calling you a liar, happened for Megan, calling you needing sympathy, happened to Megan, saying the whole thing's made up, it's a setup, it's just to put a black man in jail. We see it with every woman that comes out about being abused, and I'm sure that that's what happened to Nicki too, even if it wasn't the biggest deal ever. And it's so bizarre to see a woman saying, you just wanted to be a victim of abuse for a moment. You just wanted an abuse moment. Which then makes me think, you know how when you are speaking to somebody who's very manipulative and you start crying and they're like, oh my God, you're just crying so I feel bad for you. And then you put two and two together that like, oh, they don't have normal human emotions. Like they think because when they cry, it's to be manipulative, that when I cry, I'm just doing it to make them feel bad. It's making me think the same thing about Nicki Minaj. She's assuming Megan wanted a victim moment to boost her career, ... How is that the conclusion we landed on? It's so disgusting. It's vile. It's not even like rap beef anymore. I hate that everyone's like, this is rap beef. Oh, you guys are so young. You don't remember real rap beef. What do we want them to kill each other? Is that the goal? And at what point can we call rap beef just like completely unethical crackhead with too much money and no one taking the little beep bop computer out of her hands to like throw her into rehab for her own sake? It's just insane to me. And I literally at this point do not understand how people are still siding with her. It's making me think that there's no way you do not have a horrible brain condition to not understand how this is not okay. To have a world stage where you can influence people, not to save the world, not to care about Palestine, not to literally do any monumental thing you can do with your influence other than to do this. This is what she came up with. And the big joke of it all is that she's saying that Megan's career rides off of sympathy. I've never not once gotten the impression that Megan Thee Stallion wanted us to feel bad for her. She shut her mouth, she did a few interviews, and she wiped her hands off. And every woman who's been abused knows that you have to do that, because if you cry and you make people feel bad for you, it's just going to work against you. The big joke is that Nicki Minaj for years now has tried to convince everybody and their mother that there is this big, ominous, big, dark cloud working against her that is preventing her from being successful, that is too afraid of how much of a queen that she is, and that's why she doesn't hit the milestones that she wants to hit. So if there's anyone who rides off of sympathy and people feeling bad for her and being a victim and, oh, one day the truth's going to come out, I know the real truth, yet the truth never comes out, that is someone who rides off of sympathy. I could talk about this for hours. It aggravates me so much. The woman's such a fucking crackhead. I can't.